Hello, welcome to Wardrobe School. I'm Vanya, and in this video, I'm going to show you how I do free motion embroidery on my regular sewing machine, and more specifically, how I do variable zigzag on this machine. And you might wonder, what is variable zigzag? Basically, think of hand embroidery, right? Think if you're going to embroider like a leaf on fabric and you want to use satin stitch, right? Which is like the bunch of stitches next to each other. And to make the shape of the leaf, in the corner, right, in the point of the leaf is just like a very narrow stitch, and then it goes wider as the leaf changes shape, right? And so by hand, you just stitch a wider stitch. You can do that also on a sewing machine, and I'm gonna share with you how I do it, what's the secret behind this, and how you could do it yourself if you wish. By the way, if you wanna learn the beginning, the very easy way to start with free motion stitching, join my membership that's called Free Motion Sewing Club. The link is below. In there, we have a wonderful community of sewists that are doing free motion stitching every day, and you have an entire course to learn from the beginning to advanced techniques on how to do free motion stitching. All right, so let's get started, and I'll show you how I'm going to embroider this hand towel. So I'm in my hometown in São Paulo, Brazil, and I found a store where they sell those printed pieces that you can paint or embroider to embellish. They have tea towels and tablecloth and this hand towel, and I'll show you the thread I'm using and everything else. All right, so let's get started. Here's the thread I'm going to use. I find in Brazil, I bought it here, but all over the world you can find embroidery thread. I do not recommend you to use like sewing thread if you're a beginner. You can also do that, but if you use embroidery thread, your life is going to be easier, okay? I tend to use a rayon thread on clothing when I'm embroidering shirts and stuff because it's softer, but for this I'm just going to use polyester thread because I like these colors and I like the results they give. You know, it's just easy, the machine likes, and it makes my life easier. So this is that. Okay, we're going to start with the green color with to do the leaves and the green part on the design. All right, let's get started. First, I'm just going to do a straight stitch on the stem. Then I like to outline the leaf. Not every time I do it, but when I'm starting, I like to do it so I feel it where I'm going. And then I can open my zigzag. You can come back there. And look, and another one. One more. So this one I can outline. And I'm gonna do the stems. And those stems, they're cute. So I think I'm gonna do a tiny little zigzag. And I always do the green part first because I like the flower to go on top of it. Look, so I turn because I like the zigzag facing this position. And from here I can do the leaf. And then this one, I did a straight stitch on top already. So I'm gonna go and do a narrow zigzag to make the stem. And see if the leaf is facing me like perpendicular, like this, then my zigzag will go wider. And last one here. And you're like, how are you doing this? And here the finishing with the little zigzag on top. And there I have the green part, right? Now I'm gonna do this one. So look, I already did two, like magic. And now I'm gonna do the petals of the flowers, okay? I already put the red color. If you're wondering how I do this, right? Because that's the main point of this video, is the variable zigzag is available in a few machines that you can purchase. The most common one is the Singer 20U, which is the one that I have some videos that I'm working on it. I also have a Juki. It's called Irish embroidery. You probably have seen it. And then I adapted this machine for that. See how I go wide and then narrow. Then I can fill in all the petals. Not every time I like to fill in the petals, but this time I did for some reason. Sometimes I just do the contour like this. But I think they deserve it. See how the petal goes on top of the stem, the green. And look, then I can cover the whole area. And so on this machine, my zigzag is not very wide, right? I think it's only 4 millimeters, but on the Singer 20U is much wider. So it would probably fill in the whole paddle with one zigzag. Let's do one more. The cool thing is you can do real quick when, if you're doing it by hand, it would take days. See? So sometimes when the flower is bigger, I just do the contour like this, which is also cute, and then it doesn't get too heavy on the fabric. But this fabric is thick because it's a towel, so it can handle. Now, how to adapt the machine to do that, right? It depends on the machine you have. This one, I had a guy doing the piece for me. I'll show you in the end of the video. And so, but I have tried on other machines, or I have considered. So this machine is, this one, it's a Singer 306W. It's from the 1950s. I bought her off of Facebook Marketplace from a woman called Susan. And Susan had it was funny because when I met her, it was in New Hampshire, and she had the same exact card that I had. And we're like, oh my God. So she told me this machine was in a basement for 20 years. Let me fix this one, that's kind of strange. And see, when you do the zigzag, you can always go with a straight stitch around to just like complete the design. Some people like to contour with another color, with silver or gold. You know, if you like doing Christmas stuff, you can do gold, green, and red. It's beautiful to make it more defined, right? So Susan said that this machine was stopped. It's working, but it was not being used for more than 20 years. So then when I got the machine, it was totally frozen, like not working, not moving, anything. It took me a few days to release the whole everything and make the machine work. And then I learned how the machine was really good at, the stitch is just really good. So then I've been using for a while. And when I came to Brazil this January, I thought I'm gonna ask my friend, have a friend who does like scenarios and art shows. He's a producer, right? He has a production company. My friend for a long time. And I asked him if he knew some guy who could help me, some inventor that could help me with this goal of mine of making this machine becoming a variable zigzagger. Variable zigzagger. And he said, yes, I actually know a guy who's a genius. So then I called the genius guy, and he's also amazing, just like my friend is. And he's like, yeah, I explained to him what I wanted. And he's like, I think I could come up with something. So the guy was like, yes, I think I can come up with something. And I was like, okay, there's hope. And he said, and I was like, okay. Then I took the machine there. And I told him, the thing is, I already had a machine that does that because I have the industrial machine. I actually have both of them, the 20U and the Juki. But I wouldn't have one on the go, right? Which is this one. And so the goal was he had to do the adapter that would be removable, light, easy for me to carry. And then I left the machine there. And a few days later, he called me and he's like, you want to come and test? You want to come here and test the piece? And so I went there and it was ready. So I'll show you when I finish this, I'll show you what is the piece he made. And so if you want to come up with some sort of adapter, I also have thought of different ways to do it and what machines could do, because I follow some guys on YouTube that are from India and from Pakistan, and they had a machine there that's proper for this because they do a lot of this work. I actually have one of those machines as well because there was a woman selling in New Jersey, I think once, on Marketplace, and I bought it. And I realized that style of this Indian machine is, they kind of copied the style of the FAF 130. So I figured I could adapt a FAF 130 because the principle, basically you can adjust the zigzag with your hand, right? But in the machines, each machine has a way to change the zigzag width setting. Each machine is different, right? So you have to consider what machine is easy to do it, so you can make an adapter that you could control with the knee. I'll talk more about the FAF. So let's do the center of the flowers now with yellow. So what you have to look on the machines is how the switch from straight stitch to zigzag is, right? Some machines, depending on the machine, so it could be a dial that's like a button that you have to turn, that won't work. This one is a swing thing that goes sideways, so that's why it was easy to put the adapter. The FAF is also a dial like that, so it has to be preferably like an old machine because then it's metal and it will resist. You don't want to try on a plastic machine, although you could try. Let me know if it works. But also, some that is the change from straight to zigzag has to be smooth. It can be like tuck 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 with like like nothing that stops. It has to be smooth, because then if you put the adapter, you can control the knee and it works. So finishing up here, then I'll do the butterfly. See how to make circles is really quick with the variable zigzag. So I already did the black parts on the both butterflies, and I'm gonna show you, this part that's a little challenging because it's like circle, and you see how it goes from narrow to wide, so it's a perfect design to do variable zigzag. And I have to turn the hoop a little, so you see that if it was my other machine that is wider, then it would be easier. But with this one, I kind of have to cover this because it doesn't cover the whole area due to the narrow zigzag. I think it's 4 millimeters, but it's still amazing. I love it. I am doing fast because the satin stitch looks better if you do it fast. But if you're a beginner, obviously you can do slow, right? And when it doesn't, some parts are not all covered, I go back just like I did just now. And this is it. Let me do the other one. And I decided to do this part of the butterfly lavender. Why not? Trying to not go over the black line. And now just the last detail. Now I'm gonna do those little dots. I'm not sure my choice of colors was the best, but whatever. So I'm gonna do those little dots on the butterfly, and I wanna show you my trick to make it easy when you clean the extra threads, and also how you do the little dots, right? Look, with the zigzag, I open, then I go on top and close with I like lock the stitch in with straight stitch. And now I can go here. I have this tail to cut, that's fine, it's not a problem with the little scissors, but some design sometimes, just like this case, has dots really close to each other. So I pull the thread a little and hold it with my finger. Hold on, because now something's happening here. Okay, let's try again. I did that one. So see, instead of just going straight there, because then the tail would be too short to cut, I pull the thread and hold with my finger. So then after I finish the little dot, it has more tail to cut. Locking a straight stitch. See, now I have this one, and it's easy to just trim it here. Boom. Okay. When it's a little far, like now, it's easy. But here, look, I do like this. You don't want to put your finger under the needle, okay? Every time I do, I have a little, my heart skips a little. It's like, oh, don't do it at home. And see, now I have all those big tails to cut, and it's also satisfying for some reason. I don't know, to me it is. There it is. All right, so I just need to finish that part now. And voila. Look, see how the satin stitch is cool? It's not perfect, but you can make it really nice when you practice. Now you want to know how my adapter looks like, right? I'll show you. So yeah, this adapter was created to be on the go, so I can remove it. He attached it to the box of the machine and it can be screwed. This guy is a genius, so it's not like anybody can do that, but you can definitely adapt other types of machine, just like I explained in the video, okay? And if you want to talk to me more about this, join Free Motion Sewing Club, where we have live calls, we have a community, you can talk to me all day, and I'll explain to you more in details. You can ask questions, you can even come up. I can share the ideas I had to adapt a FAF or other machines, and I'll share it all with you. All right, so I hope you liked this video. I hope it was helpful, and I hope to see you in my community. Thank you, and see you in the next video.